What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video. So today we're actually going to give you an update on the baby king cobra, which isn't such a baby anymore, and we're also going to measure him and see kind of how big he's getting. So go ahead and take a look at him inside there. Now that is the king cobra that we got a few months back, and of course, if you watched that video, but if you didn't, he is a cross between an Indonesian king cobra and a Malaysian king cobra. So he is the locality cross. Let's go ahead and take him out. And he's been doing amazing here. So you'll see in the natural sun how beautiful his colors are. We'll get him on the ground. And he's been eating like a champ. I mean, right now he's eating frozen thawed mice. And he's taking them actually now that are unscented. So before, what I would have to do, and he's just gonna check out around this grass, which is one of the cool parts about having this room, is he can come and get some natural sunlight, but also kind of feel the dirt and kind of cruise around, go through the grass, and kind of be a snake for a little bit outside of his 8-foot enclosure. Now let's get him over here so you guys can get a better look at him. But as I was saying, when we first got him, what I would have to do is, since king cobras eat other snakes in the wild predominantly, it's just a little bit harder to feed them a all snake diet in captivity and make sure that they're not getting any parasites or like there's no parasite load in the snakes, because a lot of people will feed them like Burmese pythons, which is fine, but sometimes since they're wild, you do have to worry about some parasites. So what I would do is I would take like a Baron's racer shed and I would wrap a mouse in it, and he would actually take that. And he's actually looking at the snake stick right now because he's like, that looks like a snake and I want to eat it. So now he's finally eating rodents without having to wrap it in snake shed, which is, it makes it a lot easier. It's pretty nice that he's adapted to that. But as you can see, I mean, he definitely is growing nicely. So you can see he hasn't missed a meal. And honestly, with this guy, he's been really mellow. He is a king cobra, so you definitely want to give him respect. But as you can see, he doesn't even really hood. He hoods every once in a while, and it's kind of difficult to get him to. He may hood if he sees the hook and look kind of like a snake, but no. See, he's just like, I'm just going to cruise around. Not saying that he doesn't get his moments where he kind of gets fired up and striky. Oh, there's a little bit of hood there. Because he definitely does, especially when he's in his enclosure and he thinks he's getting fed. Now, king cobras are actually the world's longest venomous snake species. These guys have the capability of reaching lengths of upwards over 15 feet long. Even reports of 18-foot long snakes are out there, which I can't even imagine. An 18-foot long snake, probably about as thick as my calf. I mean, dealing with a 15-foot snake nonetheless is hard enough. Even a 10-foot king cobra, that's a big snake. Now what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna get him along this board over here, and I have a tape measure in my pocket, and we are gonna see how long the baby king cobra is getting. Let's see, let me bring him back over here. Okay, he'll cruise right there. So the thing about this room is also escape proof, so that way he can be out here and we don't have to worry about him getting loose. So let's put this tape measure, and I'm just gonna get out, let's say 6 feet of measuring tape, and we'll start with that because I think he's going to be around the 5.5-foot range, but we'll see. And if you're noticing a little bit of chicken droppings out here, it's because Kyle's been keeping his chickens in this area. So it's a great reptile outdoor room that doubles as a chicken coop right now. They're going to get out soon though, but so that's what that is on the ground. Let's see here. Let's see if we can get him to stretch. Now what he might do is he might think that the tape measure is a snake. So let's see if I can get him to kind of go along the side here. And even though it's escape proof, he can see it in and out because it's just screen and wire mesh. So he's pushing against it. He's like, I see grass out there that I want to go check out. Let's see if I can get him to kind of go along the wood. If he doesn't see outdoors, he may just stretch out. There we go. So let's get him to stretch. He's got some curls in it. I would say from there, if he was straight, so he's about 5'8" is where he's at right now, roughly. So he's a little over 5.5 foot. One fascinating fact about king cobras is they can actually growl. So they extend their throat and they make this growling noise, unlike any other snake on earth. So next snake I'm going to show you guys real quick before we go in and check out the new snakes we got is the little female Sioux monocled cobra. Let me see if I can get her out. She's burying herself in the cypress mulch. Let's see where she's going. So she's right there. Let me get her. So these guys will dig, as you're seeing. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put her over here in this little dirt pile that the chickens have been digging out. Now, believe it or not, monocled cobras are actually more toxic than the king cobra. These guys are not a very fun bite. This is actually no joke to get bit by one of these. So even though they're really common here in the US, and see she's hooding up a little bit. The thing about the Sioux monocled cobra that makes them a little different color phase than the normal monocled cobra, first off, they're not gonna have the monocle behind the hood. That little ring, that little circle that is kind of iconic for a monocled cobra is just not there. They don't have it. And then unlike, like say, a leucistic monocled, so leucistics will be pure white, kind of like if you watch Tyler Nolan, his Kilo. So that is a leucistic cobra. Now with the Sioux fans, they actually have color, whereas the leucistics are pure white, zero color besides like blue eye. Sometimes they have a little bit of gray head. These guys will actually be gray all the way down her body. It'll be a whole coat of gray. And then a really gray head. And she's actually starting to yellow out as she's getting a little bit bigger. And see, she's still huffy and puffy like last time, but since she's gotten a little longer, she's kind of mellowed out a little bit and a little easier to handle just because I'm able to grab her tail and kind of keep her where I want her. So I'm gonna put her away right now so we can check out the brand new venomous snakes we just got, which I'm very excited about. Let's go take a look at those. So we ended up picking up 3 new little venomous snakes. The first one we're gonna start off on is this little rattlesnake. Now I'm gonna give you guys a second to guess what species you think this is. And it may be a bit of a trick question. So I'll give you guys a second and pause the video if you're gonna take a guess. So let's get into it. This one, you may look at it and be like, hey, it looks like a Eurocone rattlesnake. I've seen that on other people's videos, or maybe I've seen the snake online. Eurocone rattlesnake would be a really good guess. However, this is not a Eurocone. This is actually a Giraco rattlesnake. So this is Crotalus dorissus pifinorum, another South American species. Look at her queue up right there. She's the cutest thing. Now these guys are not very common here in the US. There's maybe 2 people that breed this species, but as far as this particular line, which is more of a light cookies and cream color, I would describe it, there's only 1 person in the US that breeds these. I'm really excited to see her grow. Now I'm gonna put her back. She's actually taken frozen thawed for me. She's been through the whole quarantine process, but when I have baby snakes like this, like how we did with the king cobra, I don't like to handle them all that much until they get maybe 4 or 5 months of meals in them, so they're really established, and then also been here for at least 4 or 5 to even 6 months before handling starts, just so they're comfortable, they're established, and I'm not gonna stress them out. So let's go ahead and put her back, and then we'll take a quick look at the other 2 snakes we've got. I'll probably just show you one of them because they're the same species, but they are amazing. Let's take a look at those. So last up is actually the kind of the jewel that I've been looking at and drooling over for years now, wanting to get and work with one of these. If you're looking at her, you probably already know what she is. So this is a female Central American bushmaster, Latius muta. Now these guys are incredible. They're on the same lines as for me as like a king cobra, because they're one of the biggest venomous snake species in the world. This is actually the world's longest pit viper or viper species as a whole. These guys can get 12 feet long. They are a massive snake. Now this is the female. We did get a pair. The male's actually in shed. I just saw that. So this is one of those snakes that's a little bit harder to keep. These guys like it humid, but not wet. They like a humidity of about 70%, but also a cooler temperature too. They like to stay around 78 to 81 degrees. So they're a cooler temperature species, but high humidity. You find these guys all throughout Central America into South America. There's a few different species of bushmasters. There's like the black-headed bushmasters and these guys and a couple others. And these are amazing to work with. They have giant scales, giant keeled scales, a really interesting, unique facial structure that's kind of more, I want to say elongated, but like vertical elongation. They're overall like beautiful snake, really cryptic eyes. As you see, the eyeballs kind of match the brown and tans in them. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed watching today's video, seeing the brand new bushmasters we just got, as well as that little rattlesnake, and getting an update on the baby king cobra. If you liked today's video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, follow us on Instagram at Primitive Predators, and we'll see you on the next one.